So Alex, tell us about how you got into radio.
Well, Sam, you recall that we both went to Sac State together back in the 80s, and I graduated in 1984. My final semester, I had an internship at KWOD 106.5 in Sacramento. And I had a choice of 5 stations that I could work at, and I picked KWOD because I liked music, and I didn't want to work at a news station, and didn't really know a lot about country music, so I didn't want to work at the country station. I just picked KWOD because I knew the format of the music pretty well, which was top 40 at the time. We both grew up on top 40 music, back when it was good and creative, and diverse. And so it was a fun station to get into, and as soon as I got there, it was Tom Chase, the program director, who brought me in. He set me up with his music director, which was Mr. Ed Lambert. And Mr. Ed, who also did a show, at the time it was the night show, like 7 to midnight. He was the music director, so he had me schedule the music. He picked the music at that time, and then I scheduled it. And that's how it was done at that time. And it really demystified for me how radio worked, because I'm sure a lot of people, even at that time, were thinking, oh, the DJs pick the music. But that hasn't been the case since about the mid-70s. So I had fun scheduling the music, and then I'd listen to the station, and it would have a nice flow to it. I really thought that flow really mattered because, well, the radio industry didn't talk about that much. And I just thought it brought an extra edge to the radio station, because you and I both worked in the roller rink industry as DJs, and we knew that songs have to flow together. And of course we also both did lots of mobile DJ dances, weddings, parties, high schools. And so, I mean, don't you agree that the flow is just as important as the song selection?
Absolutely.
So that's kind of how I got my start in radio, is scheduling out the logs by hand. We didn't even have a computer system back then. So I'd write out the logs by hand. It'd take me an hour to do 24 hours worth of music programming.
Right. And the other important element, which I know that you know, so what you didn't say it, is dealing with live crowds. You see the instant reaction to each song from the people,
right?
Which on the radio you don't get to see,
right?
Which is, in my opinion, you've told me this before in private, that a lot of music directors and people in the radio industry have never worked with crowds face to face,
right?
So they don't have that connection,
right?
And that's a big problem.
That's why radio today sounds so robotic, because it's programmed by people who don't understand live crowds. Not that it's the exact same situation, because at a dance you're trying to get people to dance and react to the music visibly, but that creates a whole new element of energy to the crowd. Whereas on the radio, it's not necessarily all about high energy. It's more about, you know, people listening in their car, and people don't dance when they're
right.
driving in their car. So it's not exactly a dance, but it's still something where you're communicating, you know, with music to an audience.
Right. And understanding that people are going to react to your music, though, whatever you're playing on the radio, is still important.
It is very important.
Even if they're not dancing to it.
Right.
You know, you have to keep in mind, well, you know.
You have to hold people's attention. And with radio, it's based on ratings. So, you know, the Arbitron ratings, Arbitron got bought out by Nielsen, which does the TV ratings. So, anyway, they have to, you know, you don't find out right away what the ratings are. It used to be every quarter you'd find out, every 3 months. Now you get the ratings a lot faster. In fact, you even get like weekly and monthly results. But that's still not the same as seeing your audience and knowing if this is working or not. So when you find out months later what the audience thought 3 months ago, that can actually blur your decision making. It can make you think, oh, well, this is the ratings now, when really it's reflecting the past.
Exactly. I understand.
So it's a big difference. And anyway, I learned a lot about radio when I got into it in the 80s, starting in 1984.